big issue for a lot of business owners is they hire new sales reps and they drop the ball on a lot of calls. The revenue tanks, you're losing a ton of leads that you should close. And so this is one way that I actually audit the quality control of my sales team without losing sales. Hope you enjoy. Little context for today. This was the application. This is for a business owner call. Okay. So guy comes in, it's like, do you have a high ticket offer? Yes. Okay. So typically when they have an offer already and they're making some money, they might be a little bit more egotistical. It's not a bad thing. It's just, someone's like, oh, I'm already making money. I don't know if I need your help. That's good to know. Okay. He does digital marketing services. So it means he runs ads for other businesses. He's doing 10 to 20K a month. He says he can make a decision on his own. And then he's also saying like he can't start for a month or more. The team went in and they followed up. So they say follow up on time. That's what FU means. And then it says open to starting depending on price. And then he booked in. Okay. So that's context for the call. So what I'm going to do as a sales rep for the calls is before I ever even take the call, I have context for what's probably going to happen. Okay. So I'm probably going to get a resistance to starting. He's probably going to have a little bit of an ego, possibly. I don't know, but I'm going to go into the call with this. Okay. So this was a call that one of my sales guys took, and then I was on the call. So like there's parts where you're going to hear me jump in. Also, if you're a business owner watching this is how you train your sales team. If you have new sales reps, but you don't want them to lose a lot of money, you can actually stay on the calls with them, let them do the call. But when they make mistakes or they could do better, you jump in. So that way they learn a lot faster, but they're also not losing you money. So here we go.
And also I was going to say, so Tanner's actually doing some quality assurance and training stuff today, so he'll probably hop on like halfway through. So yeah, that's cool. You'll be on with like the man himself too. Yeah, sounds good. But well, cool. Yeah, so I was actually looking at some of your notes. I thought, obviously what you put down in the application looks like you're doing pretty well, kind of want to scale up and hit that next stage. So I'm not sure, are you kind of familiar with like these calls or like taking coaching or like pretty familiar with the process?
No, I think this one's going to be a little bit new. I mean, I've researched it a little bit in the past, but just looking to learn a little bit more about your process.
Okay, no worries. Well, yeah, kind of the whole goal for us on this call is just to, kind of see like where the business is at, goals, what you're struggling with, maybe like where you're, where you think the business could most improve. And then once we walk through everything, if you're like, hey, this all sounds great, definitely feel like it could be a fit, we can explore, potential options to get it going. Or if you're like, hey, not quite, what I was looking for, what I wanted, then, obviously no harm, no foul. It's just, however your life either way. But does that all sound cool, Prince?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And if you hear some papers, I'm just going to be sitting here taking some notes, kind of informally. So yeah, if you're like pen, paper, or pen, that's all that is. Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, I saw, obviously you put digital marketing services, paid search and social, and looks like you're like pretty good revenue, 10 to 20K a month. So I guess like right now, is there a certain like revenue goal or like ideal target that you're aiming for? Anything, you want to make like in just like a perfect world, monthly revenue speaking?
Yeah, I mean, depends on a lot of factors, but if I was just to throw a number out there, I would say 50K a month would be a solid goal right now.
Okay, 50K a month. And right now, is it pretty consistent, or does it kind of oscillate right now, like that 10 to 20K, some months are a little up, some months are down, but not like super consistent?
Yeah, slight variations.
Okay. Do you like if there was like an average number of monthly revenue, do you kind of have that, or is it like just pretty big range?
I would say if I was to look at the last like 3 months, average would be around 11,000.
Okay, nice. And I guess like at this point of business, is there like a certain piece of the business you see is kind of struggling, or you feel like could be operating more efficiently, like more like on the sales marketing side? Is it more like fulfillment, tech, or maybe even just kind of looking at everything, kind of seeing like what could be improved?
Yeah, I think a more consistent sales lead generation and sales process.
Okay, gotcha. Are you like right now for the clients that you already got, is it kind of like more organic, or are you running any kind of paid traffic or doing anything with paid marketing?
Okay. Also keep in mind, context matters in sales. So that's why like the more you understand the person you're talking to and the more you understand how the business works, like you can really sell people at a high clip. So he said, I'm doing 11,000 a month and I want to get to 50K. Okay, so 11,000 a month as a business owner is not that much. It's like, it's not bad. Like a lot of you guys here who are sales reps or you're a new business owner, you're like, wow, that's great. And it's a great beginner goal, but he wants to 5X his business, 5X. So remember, if I know he needs to 5X, then it's not just going to be a little tweak here and a little tweak there. Like that's a big jump. So knowing that is important, because as you go through this call, you guys are going to see like, he sounds like he'd rather be at the dentist's office. So just like be listening for these things. I'll put them in the chat, but really listen, like really try to understand where this guy's at, because that's how you're going to sell a hell of a lot better. Okay, here we go.
I have, yeah, I've done some ads, some like Google ads and some Facebook lead ads. The quality is pretty poor though. Mostly because my website is just not built for conversion. Like I don't really have any good like landing pages or anything like that. So most of my outreach has been through automated organic LinkedIn messaging.
Gotcha. Okay. And you're seeing pretty good quality with that. It's just like the Google to Facebook quality is kind of the biggest issue there.
Yeah, LinkedIn's working pretty well, but paid ads on the other platforms, not so much.
Okay, no worries. Is volume there though? Like it's like you're getting the volume, it's like the quality needs to be cleaned up.
For the paid ads?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I can get traffic to my website. It's just poor quality.
Okay. Are you and just so I'm clear, like because or like with the target markets you're going for, is it pretty broad? Like you can pretty much help anyone, or is there a certain like niche or like avatar that you're trying to target with these ads?
Yeah, I don't really have a niche down focus right now. I think that's someplace that I want to get eventually, where I have different funnels for specific niches. But yeah, I mean, my ideal target spans across quite a few different types of businesses.
Okay. Is there a like with your clients that you're working with, is there a certain like avatar in those clients that you see popping up more than not, or is this kind of a mixed bag kind of everywhere?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like I would say the ideal client is based on results, like confidence that I can drive results would be like medical practices, dentists, chiropractors. I have like an orthopedic surgeon's office, things like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Again, some of you guys may not know this, but that's different. Okay. So running ads for brick and mortar companies, in-person companies is different than running ads for online companies. Okay. Context, just like a lot of you guys, like as you're learning and about high ticket sales and business, like try to learn as much as you can about how business works, how leads works, like, because you guys will be able to sell more offers, right? If you understand what you're selling better, or the different avenues that they're talking about. So when he's telling me, he's like, yeah, so I'm pretty much doing LinkedIn organic. I ran some ads, but it hasn't worked. I have a pretty shitty website. Like I'm going to ask him later in the call. You guys will hear me. I'm going to jump in and say, well, where's your website? He's not consistent on sales, right? So if he's think about it this way too, if he's doing ads for someone, he probably is charging between $1,000 to $3,000 a month. He's only got like 4 or 5 clients. So he's not, this isn't a big company by any means. It's not like he's got this like dialed in system. He has no system, right? So he's pretty much probably only getting these off referrals. Just all this stuff I can take from the context he's given me, right? So a lot of this stuff too is like when you guys are like, well, Tanner, you move really fast. It's because I'm able to get massive context with very few questions. Because I know how online business works and I've built my company and I've hired and I've trained. So I just have that experience. So if you don't have that experience, when you're listening to calls or you're placed in a company or you're the business owner, right? We have all kinds of people on this call, is try to understand the context of the situation. Because remember, the more that they feel like you're customizing it for them, the more they're going to buy. Okay. So if you go sell cars, yes, you sell cars all day, but if you get a mom with 2 kids versus a 20-year-old guy who wants a top-down car, right? It's completely different way of pitching. Yes, you're pitching the car, but it's like, oh, dude, this car is going to get all the girls and this and that. For the mom, you're like, this is one of the safest cars there is. That's what I mean. Okay, here we go.
With the paid traffic, how much on average were you spending, and how long were you like running the paid traffic? Was it pretty recent, or like have you been doing it for a while?
Spent it like a few $100s, but I got enough traffic to my site that confidently be able to say that nothing was converting or working. So yeah, I know what the issue is there with paid traffic. It just comes down to my website not being optimized for conversion.
Okay, gotcha. And just unclear on the paid traffic, was it like an ad? They click on it, it goes to the website, but the website, like, is it just when you say like it's not built for conversions, what's actually like on the website?
It's like a pretty basic Wix site with an overview of my services and like who I am and things like that. And there's like a contact form on there.
Okay, someone tell me, if I run ads to a website, is that going to work? If I run ads to elitecos.com, do you actually think that will work? No, correct. So ads need to go to an opt-in page or messenger. So if I'm running ads to, elitecos.com and they come to this page, right? And they're like, I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I'm not making any money. What's wrong? Well, what's wrong is like, there's this, it's like a whole effing page. That's not how you convert traffic. You send someone to one page, right? You send someone to a page like this. Okay. So this is like an opt-in page where it's like at the very top, they see a video and then it's like, buy. Like you only want them to be one thing to do. So because I have context and he's saying that, I'm like, well, that's stupid. Why would a guy who runs a marketing agency run ads to a website? The guy's not going to tell you like, yeah, I'm not that smart. And I'm running my ads to a website. But if you understand how business works, you'll see later in the call, this will help me better position him. Okay.
And you know, all the pretty basic stuff. So I mean, like there are ways for people to convert when they get to my website, and I think it's pretty clearly laid out. So it's probably a combination of two things: probably the quality of the traffic that was clicking on my ads and going to my site, in addition to my web just not being the best website there is, right? It's just a basic website.
Okay. And if there's nothing happening, like if people click on it or interact, there's like no like retargeting or follow up or any way to kind of get those people, they just kind of click and then kind of fall through the cracks.
Yeah, I'm not doing a whole lot of my own marketing. I don't really drink my own medicine that I give my clients.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so probably some slips through the cracks there. Has this been just all you kind of like going at it yourself, or like did you work with a coach or agency to set this up, or I guess like why the direction you went down with the marketing?
Yeah, I've worked in digital marketing for about a decade now, so I've just like built up my own clientele, and eventually got to a point where I could sort of build out my own thing. So I have been more focused on my clients and building out my own sort of brand and marketing and all of that stuff. So I built my Wix site on my own. So again, I'd say it's just a pretty basic Wix site. But you know, it's serviceable. It gets the job done just in terms of you know, laying out what my services are and what I do. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I got to where I'm at. Like I built up my clients pretty organically over my years working in digital marketing. So most of my clients come through like referral based or you know, just through my organic network. So I haven't had to really do much to you know, go chase down my own clients.
Got it. Okay. I guess like at this point, is it a case of like you have been like on the referral kind of word of mouth side and now things are kind of getting a little slower and that's why you're looking into more like streamlined paid ad services, or I guess like why make this now if it's working so well?
It's not necessarily getting slower. I mean, I still get a pretty steady stream of clients. I think
okay, so that's not really a good question for my guy. If the guy's at 11,000 a month and he wants to get to 50K a month, why is he looking for help? He's trying to 5X his business. That's why. Okay. So remember, if you ask stupid questions, you get what? Stupid answers. You got to ask good questions. So he doesn't know that, right? So he doesn't think it's a bad question, but that kind of wasn't a good question. And remember, the only questions I'm asking is either I'm gathering data or I'm trying to break his belief, right? So if he's like, well, I don't need help, I'd be like, well, why don't you need help? Well, you know, I'm doing 11,000 a month. I'm like, yeah, but don't you want to do 50,000 a month? Yeah. Okay. So why do you think you don't need help then? Like, that's the only two types of questions you're asking. It's either you're gathering intel or you're trying to break their belief on something. You don't tell people that they're wrong. They have to come to that conclusion on their own. Okay. So if you ever are actually like trying to get help from a mindset coach, or your brother's a drug addict, or your wife throws dirty dishes on the floor, whatever, you're not going to get them to change by being, oh my gosh, you're so dumb. Why do you do that? That's so stupid. You have to get them to come to their own realization, which typically is you just make them feel you care about them and you ask the right questions. Okay.
To do is sort of rev things up a little bit and see how I can take it to the next level and grow quicker.
Oh, okay. Got it. And with the paid ads are like really focusing on like the sales process or like that, like the marketing side. Have you worked with anyone before to help with that, or any kind of agencies, or just like first, like, you know, really touch point, like reaching out to dial that stuff in?
Yeah, I haven't worked with any agencies. From the paid side, I mean, I wouldn't hire an agency to manage paid ads. That's what I do. That's what people hire me for. If I was to hire somebody, it would be more on the, like building out a website, building out a funnel, maybe some consultation with building out different like marketing materials, like a downloadable PDF or, you know, something, whatever it might be. But as far as like actually executing and managing the paid ads, like that's what I do. So I would manage that on my end.
Yeah. Okay. And I guess that's kind of what I meant. When I say paid ads, I'm thinking kind of like the whole system. Also, you know, not just the, you know, marketing in the front end, but then everything that happens after the click too. But it sounds like we're on the same page. So you're saying like after the click, you know, the follow up, the funnel, just making sure everything is airtight on like kind of the back end process side.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Perfect. And
is that what you guys do? Are you guys mostly focused on acquiring traffic through paid sources and then setting up a whole system on the back end to make sure that you're converting everything?
Exactly. Yeah. Because, and I'm actually glad you brought that up, because a lot of people are only focused.
Hey, notice how he said that? I want you guys to listen to his tonality. Listen.
Setting up a whole system on the back end to make sure that you're converting.
But then everything that happens after the click.
Okay. So right here on this, the prospect, listen to how he says this.
But it sounds like we're on the same page. So you're saying like after the click, you know, the follow up, the funnel, just making sure everything is airtight on like kind of the back end process side.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Perfect. And
is that what you guys do?
Right here.
Are you guys mostly focused on acquiring traffic through paid sources and then setting up a whole system on the back end to make sure that you're converting everything?
Okay. That is what he wants. You guys hear how he says that? Yeah. Do you guys focus on just paid ads and systems? He says it in a really like uptone, happy type of thing. If he goes, is all you guys focus on is paid traffic and systems? That's not what he wants. If he's saying that, guess what he's telling me? That's what I want. That's what I want. So then guess what I'm going to sell him? That. Okay. Like guys, they tell you what they want on the calls. If you just listen, he's telling us what he wants. So if I'm smart and I'm the sales rep, when I go to pitch the 3 pillars, all I'm focusing on, the biggest thing I'm focusing on is that. That's what he wants. That's why he's on the call. Right there is exactly what he wants.
Exactly. Yeah, because and I'm actually glad you brought that up because a lot of people, they're only focused on like the front end, like, hey, can we get some ads set up, can we get some leads? But I mean, I'm sure as you know, it's like the money is made in the follow-up. It's everything that happens after the click. So that's what we're focused on, is creating an entire ecosystem where when these people get to you, everything is airtight and no one's kind of just like flipping through or, kind of getting lost once they get to you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Just curious, have you been like following us for a while, or are you pretty familiar with us, or more on that?
I was just scrolling through Instagram and I came across Tanner. Is it Tanner? I came across his I came across his Instagram, and so I'm not sure if it was him or somebody else managing his social media started messaging me, and we scheduled the call.
Oh, okay, nice. So that was like literally first point of contact whenever we were just kind of scrolling thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's always, because I know if you saw our ads, you probably saw all the other ads too, and everyone kind of promises the world if we're being honest. But is there something specific you saw with us, or any reason for like, hey, let me give these guys a shot?
No, I mean, like I said, I just started following him because I was I don't even know why. I think I saw one of his Instagram reels or stories kind of popped out. So I was like, all right, I'll give this guy a follow and see if I can pick up on any tips or whatever. And then, like I said, he messaged me and we just started chatting, and it was like a pretty organic, natural conversation. I was like, all right, this guy seems cool, whatever. Like, I'll hop on a call.
Okay, got it. And were you kind of like, was this something, were you already kind of like looking into coaching and like that's why you started seeing ads pop up because you were already looking into people, or was it just like, kind of scrolling, just kind of like by chance, and you were like, hey, it's a good time, I was already thinking about it anyway, and that's why you clicked?
No, I haven't really been actively looking for it. Yeah, like I said, I probably wouldn't have messaged him if to look into it further, but he reached out to me, so I agreed to hop on a call.
Okay, got it. And just so I can have an idea of like what the timeline looks like, because I did see on your application, it looks like it's like expensive through Q4 and like wanting to maybe push it out a little bit. With that being said, is this something you're looking to move on quickly, or are you actively trying to find a solution for the, getting this sales process dialed in, or is this something kind of, hey, I'm doing some information gathering, but just...
Okay, this is the word. I hate this. Listen to what he says. I hate this shit. Watch, listen.
Why you started seeing ads pop up because you were already looking into people, or was it just like, kind of scrolling, just kind of like by chance, and you were like, hey, it's a good time, I was already thinking about it anyway, and that's why you clicked?
No, I haven't really been actively looking for it. Yeah, like I said, I probably wouldn't have messaged him if to look into it.
Okay, so desire seems pretty low, right? Yeah, I wanted to message him, right? He messaged me. So I need to know that as a sales rep, because I got to build some belief. Like, you don't just sit there and go, oh yeah, you don't want to buy today. Okay, cool. Well, I got to start saying stuff that's going to get them to buy. And then the second thing is listen to what asked here. I hate this question. Listen.
Further, but he reached out to me, so I just agreed to hop on a call.
I'll tell you when it's coming up.
Okay. Got it. And just so I can have an idea.
Okay, right here. Listen.
Yeah, like what the timeline looks like, because I did see on your application.
What's the timeline look like? And listen to how he asks it. So if I want someone to move right away, I might say, yeah, and just curious, like you're trying to move on this right away, right? No? Why don't you want to move on this right away? If like we get the solution for you, like what would you be opposed to moving forward? Or like, what do you mean? Listen to how he asks. Watch.
Looks like you said expenses through Q4 and like wanting to maybe push it out a little bit. With that being said, is this something you're looking to move on quickly, or are you actively trying to find a solution for the, getting the sales process dialed in, or is this something kind of, hey, I'm doing some information gathering, but just kind of seeing like what options or anything kind of look like out there?
Yeah.
It's horrible. Okay. He goes, yeah, so you're trying to move on this quickly, or are you just on this call to do some information gathering? He goes, yeah, I'm just here to information gather. So what do you think he's going to do at the end of the call if you do that? Information gather. So I'm not even going to ask anything. I'm not going to say something that's going to give them the thought for an objection. Why would I do that? Makes no sense. Never do that, ever. If you don't want them to think something, don't say it. Don't say it. So if I want him to move quickly, I go, yeah, so, and just so I'm clear, if we're able to provide the solution for you, you're trying to move quickly, correct? Oh, you're not. Okay, why is that? And then I start breaking that belief. He's like, well, this and this and this. I'm like, well, totally get that. But I mean, you've been at 11K for how long now? A year? Okay. So if you could get to 50K in 3 months, for example, like, would that interest you? Or you're just kind of like, if I get to 50K in 2 years, that's fine. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to understand how you think. Okay. Don't ever say something where they just have an easy yes or no. Okay. Like the only reason people do that is they're scared of the answer. They're afraid of conflict. There's no reason to say that. Because all that doesn't, your job as a sales rep is to get them to make a decision. So if he's coming here to information gather, then that means he's not going to make a decision. So why would I say, are you here to information gather? Whatever you say, they'll think, don't do that. Okay, here we go.
I'm just kind of doing information gathering and seeing what options there are. So I kind of have it in my back pocket if and when I want to make, you know, hire somebody, and I'm confident that if they can help take me to the next level. Right now, I do use, like I said, I do use a program that supports with LinkedIn automated organic outreach. So it's really like, if I'm going to do something, I want to make sure I'm like putting all my effort and focus into it. So like I feel like I could get more out of this LinkedIn program. So I just want to make sure like I'm squeezing as much out of this before I like jump into another program. So I think, but yeah, to answer your question right now, I'm kind of collecting info and you know, having these options ready.
This is Tanner. I don't know if you know I was on the call, just listening in. I jumped in like 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Question for you is like, you say you've been doing digital marketing for about 10 years, and I know you say you're doing 10 to 20 months. What did you say your goal was? Like, what do you want to get to?
Roughly 50,000.
Okay, so you feel confident, like you said, you're doing LinkedIn organic, you feel confident that could get you to 50,000 consistently?
Yeah, if I do it right. I mean, there's endless.
Okay, so now I'm jumping in and watch how I ask questions that frames it in the way I want. So he's like, yeah, I'm just doing LinkedIn organic. Like, guys, you're not going from 11,000 a month to 50,000 with LinkedIn organic. Sorry. Like, no way, unless you're a crazy psycho like me, but most people we're talking to are not psychos. Okay, I was doing 50,000 a month organically, but I had arthritis in my fingers. Like I would literally legit, I'm not kidding. I was getting arthritis in the joints of my thumbs and my fingers from messaging so much. There's no way this guy with his personality is going to hit 50K a month. So the questions I'm asking is to get him to see that. Notice how I'm not telling him. I'm just very like stern. I'm like, so you think LinkedIn organic is going to get you to 50K a month? Because I got to break his belief. That's incorrect. So I don't tell him that. I ask it in a way that he's like, well, and then I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Amount of leads I can tap into on LinkedIn. So I think if I do it right, it can definitely get me there.
No, I don't care if you do it right. You're definitely not getting there, dude. There's no effing way.
You think it will triple your business?
You guys will see, like, I'm pretty aggressive here, but like I got to, because he's got to see that's asinine.
Yeah, there's potential for sure.
I mean, yeah, but I think there's potential, but you actually think like gun to your head, 30 days, you can get triple the business with LinkedIn organic.
In 30 days? Probably not in 30 days.
Right. So, I mean, if you're a digital marketer guy, you don't pay that fast. So like, why are you not trying to like go around with paid traffic?
Sorry, say that again?
I was saying, because you're a digital marketer, you don't pay ads as fast. So why are you not trying to go around with paid traffic?
I've done paid traffic. I tested it. What do you guys build out? What do you guys build out to help support paid traffic? Because if I was to turn on a paid traffic campaign right now, like I know that wouldn't effectively get me to where I want to be in 30 days. So if you can say, you know, you have a whole system that will convert leads into clients, automatically, or flip the switch and they're on, like that would be more interesting. But right now, if I began running paid traffic and sending it to my site as it is, I know it wouldn't get me to where I want to be.
Right. So what I heard is like, from what I heard, you're running traffic to a website, right? Like it's just a basic website. Like what's the website you run it to? What's the link? If I can look it up on my computer.
Okay. My website, it's simply.com.
Okay. Yeah. One sec. I'm just .com. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. There's like not really. It's just. I mean, it's not. You do have an opt-in, but
okay. This is his site. Like this is not going to convert. Like no, it didn't convert. Okay. Again, context. You got to always get context, guys. Like it matters, right? Because then I'm like, and when I'm pitching my pillars, I'm like, yeah, so the reason your ads didn't convert is you're running it to a website. That doesn't work. Now, it might work for your agency clients who are dentists and gyms or like super easy because there's no competition. But in the online space, that doesn't work, dude. So what we're going to do is remember? Like, you just got to be a master at the game, man. It's like, I love to learn and I love to just, like, if you're going to help people, you have to know what you're talking about, right? You have to know the situation. So watch what I keep doing. Watch.
It's just not really optimized. So like the clients you have, what are some of the clients you have?
Okay, that's why I asked, because I came late to the call. I like buzzed in like 6 minutes in. I'm like, well, this makes no sense. So what clients do you have?
Some
what do they sell, I guess?
Yeah.
What do they sell?
Yeah. I have e-com apparel clients. I have some medical practices like dentist office, orthopedic practice, some service-based businesses like a roofing company,
Okay.
Things like that.
And most of them that you're running ads for, basically just, they'll just run, like, you're just pretty much running to some type of form and then they're calling them typically, or like, what's the funnel typically look like?
For my clients,
Yeah. So like your clients, are you typically just running like a form and then they call them quickly, or like, what's your funnel look like?
so the ads that I run for my client, most of my client, like, that's what you're asking, right? The ads that I run for.
Correct.
So they all have websites that are optimized for conversion. Like, that's part of my research process. Like, I'm not going to take on a client unless I feel confident that if I send traffic to their website, that traffic will convert. So all of the campaigns that I run for my clients, I'm sending traffic to their website.
Okay. So it's literally straight to the website. You don't even set up any funnels or anything.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Wow. And then they're paying you how much typically, like 1,000 a month, 2,000?
Yeah, it's usually a percentage of media spend managed with a minimum of 1,000. So I'll charge you, $1,000 retainers, and let's get up to 1,000 and spend 10% less.
Okay. And then start for all the questions, just gives me a little more context. And then you're doing this full time, or do you have other stuff you do?
Yeah, full time.
Full time. Okay. And then you said something, so I just want to clarify. What's more important? Do you care? Would you rather make less
Okay, watch. This is a framing question. Watch. Listen.
money and have it be automatic and, you know, it could work, it couldn't work, or you want something that for sure will work, but you're gonna have to put more work in?
Okay, why do I do that? Because I need him to say, I'm willing to do something that's harder that will for sure work. Because so far, he just sounds lazy. He's like, yeah, I don't really want to do much. I'm like kind of doing this. And like, if you have a system that automatically qualifies clients, like that's not how business works. So I'm framing him. Remember, I'm not telling him, I'm asking questions that will get him to say what I want him to say. This is all set up, right? Like I know what he's going to say, or I know what I need him to say. So that's why I asked the question that way. Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm putting work into it to get the results that I want. So I'm not looking to have anything that's just set it and forget it.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So I'll let take you.
Okay, so now he's ready. So now I have context. Someone's going to go back into the pillars. But if it was me, right, I have enough info that now my pillars, these are ours, offer creation, faucet system, and process. Okay. I'm going to customize what I say to him because he's not a beginner. So if I'm talking to a beginner, when I talk about offer creation, I'm going to talk more about the price point. I'm going to talk about the packaging. I'm going to talk about how they're going to sell it. If here he has an offer, I might say, well, hey, the first thing's offer creation. We're going to help you with your whole back end. Because here's the thing. If you're trying to scale from 11,000 to 50,000 a month as an ad agency, you're going to have a lot more systems in place and probably a couple hires. So we actually have an internal ad agency. So we'll help you, show you how you can hire and train media buyers and how you can systemize the process. So it's like a conveyor belt. Okay. Do you guys see that? Like, it's not rocket science per se, but you take the info you get and then you customize the pillars. And if I think there's something else I could hit on, I would, but really I can still talk about this, but it's more about the scaling of the offer versus the creation of the offer. Okay. Hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, but so like watch what does. And this is where I feel he starts making mistakes. Okay, watch.
Here, but like I'll let him take you through like the 3 pillars. I just want to get some context on that. Because yeah, I think we can definitely help you. But you know, if your goal is like to get to 50K a month, you know, I guess like the question you have to ask yourself is like, how long do you want to wait? Because if you've been doing this for 10 years, like you've been running this business for 10 years.
I'm also creating urgency, right? Oh, I want to wait and see. No, I don't want him to wait and see. You guys are in control. You guys like bring them to the call. I can get someone by what I ask and what I say to try. I can't make them, but I can try to get them to move faster. I don't want him to think about it for 3 months. He doesn't need to. It took him a year to get to 11,000 a month. Like, guys, I went 0 to $1 million in a year and 1 to 10 million in a year in a single year. You don't have to only grow at $2,000 every 3 months. Okay, that's not how business works. You can go as fast as you want if you do what you're supposed to do.
No, I've been in digital marketing for 10 years. I just got into this business for myself. I just went full time with this a year ago.
Okay, so being in business full time for years, not just got in. Like that's what he thinks, but that's 365 days. That's a good amount of time.
Got it. Okay, yeah. So like the only thought I'm going to throw out to you, and then I'll let someone get back into like what kind of like our pillars. But you know, if you're doing, let's say you said 10 to 20K a month, let's say 15. If you're going to triple your business, LinkedIn organic, it's not like it can't work, but it's kind of like door-to-door sales. It's like the amount of volume you're going to have to do is probably going to be so high, and they get pitched so much that the chances that becomes consistent for you is highly unlikely. So the whole reason I'm a big proponent of paid traffic, and like we'll talk about systems as well, because like you're basically wasting the money running it to your site. Like that's not going to be the way to do it. So we'll walk through that. But if you genuinely want to get to 50K and you want to do it as soon as possible, paid system is going to be far better than like LinkedIn organic or anything organic. Organic is really just to prove that you know how to make sales. Once you know how to make sales, it's really just about getting more numbers, and then you're doing the same processes in a faster window, which I'm sure you understand. So I'll let talk you through that, but that would just be something I have in the back of your head, because it's just like, do you want to get there in a year? Do you want to get there, in 2 months? Like, to me, it's like, obviously you want to hit our goals as soon as possible, because once you hit that goal, you'll have another goal, et cetera. And like organic is like extremely slow. The only benefit to organic is if you're just like, hey, I want to have a smaller team, or I want to go slower, or like, I'd rather make, I don't know, like, I really don't know the benefit other than you just want to make it, maybe it's like a simpler business to run, but it's definitely not as consistent. And I heard you talking about referrals is kind of the same way. Like, referrals are not consistent because you can't, like, you'll get a few, but it's not enough to like build 100,000 a month or 200,000 a month or whatever. So anyway, sorry, that was just a context. I'll make
clarify.
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, the LinkedIn organic outreach isn't organic posting like in my newsfeed. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about direct outreach to people via their LinkedIn inbox.
I don't give a, it doesn't matter. Like if you guys are the sales rep and someone said that and you don't know that, you're like, oh yeah, LinkedIn organic. Yeah. Dude, he's talking cuckoo. You're not reaching out on LinkedIn organic, scaling from 11,000 to 50,000 a month, dude. I don't give a what he's drinking. He is wrong, 100%. But the only reason I know that is I understand business. I understand what I'm selling. Okay, so you guys got to understand as sales reps, you have to understand the context. Because if you don't, you're going to just get bamboozled and ran through hoops by people who think they're smarter than they are. I'm not saying that in a negative sense. It's just he thinks like what he thinks is not real. But I have to get him to see that. Okay.
So it's like outbound sales, right?
No, I agree. It's just like, if you could spend $1,000 and let's say you got, 50 leads, and out of the 50 leads, you got 5 applications. Out of 5 applications, you close 2 sales. That to me is worth it. Let's say you close them at $3,000. That's $5K of profit for a lot less work, and it's consistent because it's a numbers game. So I understand what you're doing fully well. I actually built my company to 50,000 a month doing organic messaging, but it's a grind. And even if it does work, it's not going to scale past a certain amount. So I think like if your goal is 50K and then you want to grow bigger, you're going to have to eventually figure out paid traffic. Like you can't just DM your way to multi-7 figures. You might be able to get high 5 figures, maybe even 6 figures, but that's the only thought I'm putting in your head. I understand what you're doing, but it's just at some point you have to figure out paid traffic. And like based on the site I just saw, that's not optimized for what you're trying to do. So I'm not quite struggling. But anyways, like I'll let them get into it and then I'll jump back in if I need to, but I hear what you're saying for sure. All right.
Cool. But okay, cool. I wanted to, before I do jump into it though, anything else like you think I missed or you think it's important for me to bring up about, Steward of business just before I get into the pillars?
Yeah. No, I'm aligned with everything that you guys just walked through. And I obviously, I understand the value of paid traffic. Since that's what I do as well. But, and I totally agree that like, if I'm going to run paid traffic, like I need a better system in place. I need a better website. I need a better funnel, all of those things to help with conversion. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how you guys help in that regard. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to run through. And I'll start with the first piece because what we always usually start with, especially when people are kind of going from that warm organic kind of referral to really pushing the cold traffic, is we always start with what we call OCP, which is offer creation process. So what we're doing here is we really want to make sure that the way we're presenting it, we want to craft and package it in a way where we can sell it at a very premium price and just making sure you never become a commodity. Because
okay, so you see what he's doing? He's doing the beginner crap. Oh yeah, we're gonna do an offer. We're gonna help you package it and price it. It's like, dude, does this guy need us to tell him how to package it and price it or he has clients? I mean, maybe we could say something like, hey, we'll help you, repackage it or be able to charge a higher price. But the biggest thing really is like, if he already has clients, what does he have? Proof of concept. So what do we need to do is scale. So scaling is going to be more back-end systems, fulfillment, maybe hiring a couple coaches, right? So that's what I would talk about. Like they tell you what to say on the calls, guys. That's the thing. Like, but if you go into the calls and you're just a robot and you just have a script and you don't use your brain, you'll never be a good closer. Scripts are guidelines. They are not law. It's not gospel. Okay.
obviously, like you're in sales, you know how important it is for people to perceive you a certain way, or at least perceive the value you have to offer a certain way. So that's pretty much what we'll do is look at how it's being presented, what are you actually saying, like kind of first point of contact, and then making sure that it kind of sets you apart. Because well, I wouldn't even say a bad thing, but there's tons of agencies. You know, everyone kind of promises the world, everyone kind of does the same thing with the agencies, but just making sure to present it differently and you have a unique USP or selling point that basically will set you apart. And you know, obviously that's all front end. You kind of, you know, these are all the things we already talked about, and you know, you understand the importance of that. But I would say kind of the most important piece is making sure everything on the back end is in alignment too, because usually it's not very hard to get qualified leads or get people to you. Once again, the hard part is everything that happens after the click. So that's where we can kind of give our experience on just the clients we've worked with. We can give you, hey, here's what we've seen work really well as far as the way the funnels are set up, landing pages, what kind of lead magnets, price points, as far as like how much collected versus how much to put on the retainer. And I'm not sure if you knew, but actually one of our portfolio companies is a high level agency that works with both brick and mortar and service based businesses. So a lot of the times we can kind of pull back our curtains and so you.
There we go. That's what he should have talked about from the get go, though. right? Because you kind of water it down by talking about the stuff you don't need to. Just like I would have just been like, hey, we have an internal ad agency, does about 100,000 a month. We've got about 30 clients. We'll show you exactly how to do it. You probably got 5 clients. We'll show you how to scale. Okay. Stuff like that. Okay.
Exactly how we have some of our, operations, kind of like that backend setup. And a lot of that will directly apply to what you're doing. So it's really making sure there's a flag fit between, it has to be marketable, sellable on the front end, but then obviously scalable, sustainable on the back end. Because what we don't want to happen is we set everything up, leads, funnels, everything is good. And then it kind of breaks the engine, it becomes an operational nightmare. You're taking all these clients and, you can't even take anymore because it's kind of like, shutting everything down. But, any questions on that first piece? Is all that pretty straightforward?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. So the second piece, and this is kind of getting more into what you were talking about with like the systems, the back end, it's everything that happens after the, after they click the lead magnet opt-in, whatever we're trying to get them to. And that's what we call our elite operating system. It's basically our faucet system. But what we're doing here is, once everything is set up, just making sure that the funnels, the way you're engaging with the contact, just making sure it's airtight. And that's all in the follow-up, the nurture, the automation, the, email marketing, everything that takes to like keep these leads around.
Like, it sounds boring, man, doesn't it? Like, yeah, the second thing is our elite operating system. It's like the funnels, the back end. He's being like super vague. So remember, this guy's a digital marketer. So remember, he's going to think he knows a lot about what? Digital marketing. So he's got to give him a little something here, right? Remember, we got to do what they do, what we do. The only time we don't do what they do is when we already have context for the situation. So for example, a beginner, they don't know how to create an offer. So I'm like, here's what most people do. Here's what we do. This guy has an offer. So all we have to really do is go, look, you already have an offer. So we don't need to get into what other people do. You already have something, but here's how we're going to add on to it. Okay. This second one, he already has a lead system, but it's trash. So we're going to be like, so the second thing I'll be like, look, so the second thing is the faucet system. Right now you're relying on referrals and cold outreach. That's great. And it's got you 11,000 a month. It sure as hell isn't going to get you to 50,000 a month. So what we have, something we call the faucet system, which is a unique blend of emails, text, voicemail drops, DMs, etc., where we'll hit a prospect up to 7 times, which, as you know, is the average buy cycle of a prospect. And what we see is about a 57% increase in applications versus running to an automated webinar like most people. Does that make sense? And then all of a sudden the guy can grasp it. But what does is he's just kind of like, yeah, we'll set up a system for you and da 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 da. And it sounds super vague and super lame. And so watch what the guy does when he's done. Watch.
Them engaged. So that's what we're trying to do is create the entire ecosystem. And what that'll look like is looking at what you already have. And then, obviously like looking at the website, what usually happens, we'll kind of like do an audit, like, hey, we need to change this, we need to add some automations here. Instead of directing them here, let's, maybe do like a messenger ad or, some type of type form or just something where when they click and, they're kind of like going in the system, seeing what you have to offer, making sure we're able to scrape data, whether it's phone, email, getting them in some type of messenger and making it where we can reach back out to them. Because usually once we fill up those holes, like I know this stuff isn't like the, quote unquote sexy stuff. And a lot of people don't want to talk about like back end and margins and stuff like that. But, when we're working with these big teams that, have lots of leads coming in, like it's like, that's where the money's made. It's all this little, 5% margins with a bit of cracks here. We're not testing or capturing leads, over here. And it's just like all this little stuff. It's, death by 1,000 cuts, so to speak. So what our lead operating system is, it's basically an entire like back end fulfillment, digital marketing, email marketing system that we can kind of hand to you. Because a lot of times you have to, use like Adobe for this and ClickFunnels for that. And it's like a ton of different stuff. And you have to, get bigger to connect it all and then it breaks, don't really know what's broken. So instead of, kind of going that route, we give it all kind of in a done for you, like ready to plug and play model where we just have to figure out, your offer, what you want it to sound like, what do we need to say in the emails, how could you, naturally connect with your clients and then plug those in. But as soon as we're ready to launch, we just have to click the green button and it's ready to go. You don't have to build out, all of this from scratch. And this is what I'm alluding to is our Elite 360 system, which is it's a complete done for you back end, kind of like emails, marketing, funnels, the landing pages, all kind of ready to go and just, kind of ready to, once you plug it in, it's ready to run. I know I'm kind of throwing a lot out there, but any questions on that?
Listen.
Nope, sounds good.
Okay, cool. As far as like what you mentioned like the back end.
Listen right here.
Is this kind of like landing for you or anything you think is missing?
Yeah, do you guys have any like demos or anything or any visuals that we can walk through to get a better idea? Like I understand what you're saying, but it would be have like something to walk through.
Yeah. So he basically is saying like, I got no value out of that. Do you have something you can show me? What do you think every business coach on earth tells someone? Yeah, we're going to set up your funnels. We're going to set up your emails. We're going to set up your back end. It's really sick. And that's what said, right? Okay, so watch. Here I come to the rescue. Superman with this cape. Okay, watch.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I can drop you like the website to the Elite 360. It walks through everything, that it's offering. If we were on Zoom, we could just walk through it now. But yeah, I mean, it looks at everything kind of bulleted, checklist on what it includes.
Like also, I don't want to send him a demo. So no, I'm not sending you a demo. Guys, we're trying to get deals. We're trying to close. We're trying to help people. Sending him a demo link is like, that's the other thing. So someone's just like, yeah, we'll just do whatever you want. No, No, we're not. We're here to make decisions. Okay, so I'm going to come in, watch.
You know, what it would cost to buy all this stuff kind of all apart if you didn't go this route. But
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. So yeah, I mean, in terms of what you're doing, like you're running pretty much you're running your traffic straight to the website, which like I'm actually shocked that works for your clients. Like I think that's like the most unoptimized thing I've ever seen. But
okay, so look, instead of saying here's what they do, I'm going here's what you do. Okay, so maybe what I can do on these sheets is like instead of here's what they do, I could say like here's what you do. Okay, because he's just more experienced. Here's what we do. Yeah, here's what we do. So it's just all I'm saying instead is like, here's what you do. Here's what you're doing. And this is why it doesn't work, right? Because he's trying to go from 11 to 50. So watch.
I guess results are great. I've just actually shocked your clients for getting that. So typically what people do is they run an ad to a webinar. They hope the webinar works. The webinar doesn't work. You're screwed. So what we do is something called conversion conversations, which typically will get about 57% more applications, which obviously if you get 57% more applications, you get way more conversion. In terms of what you just said to walk through, it's pretty simple to understand. You run the ad to Messenger, and then what happens inside Messenger is they'll get a link to the presentation, and then we also will have automations in there, and we'll have setters. Okay, so the setters are going in talking to them. Then they're also getting the presentation where they can book a call on that. Not to mention we already got their email and phone number, so we start calling them, we're texting them, and we're emailing them. Plus they get a link to the Facebook group. So it's a lot. Plus retargeting now. So you're hitting them 7 different ways in the first like 30 minutes. And so they're going to book one way or the other. And so that's what I'm saying we're setting it all up for you. So like, I don't know if like watching a demo is going to give you much insight on that. It's just that's how it happens.
I don't think a demo is going to give you much. Boop. Push it to the side, not send you a demo. I don't want to send him a demo. I want him to buy. I want him to make a decision.
And because we hit them from so many angles, they buy at a higher rate. Because they buy at a higher rate, your cost of acquisition goes way down. Because your cost of acquisition goes way down, you make a ton more sales. So hopefully that makes more sense. But like the way you're doing it right now, I'm shocked you're getting clients results that way because there's basically, you know, they go to the site and then maybe they'll opt in, maybe they don't. There's a million different options. If I was doing what you were doing, at the very least, I would just have a straight opt-in page, and then you have nothing on the back end. So, you know, like your clients are basically, it sounds to me like most of them are kind of like products or brick and mortar. And so those are a little bit easier, but when you're doing like digital marketing, like services, and you know, the high ticket space is super crowded. So you're going to go out and say, hey, I need you guys to pay me to run your ads. You're going to have to do a lot more follow-up than you're doing right now, especially if you want to get to 50K a month. So does that make more sense with that explanation? Does that kind of make more sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we're talking about sending paid traffic to an agency's website versus like a doctor's office or a retail apparel website. It's a little bit of a different closing funnel.
Yeah, but even your site, like you know, you said you ran a little bit of paid ads and it didn't convert. You know, unless I misunderstood earlier in the call, but it's not going to convert running it to that like ever. I mean, so.
Right. So he's like, oh, I already know that. It's like, well, you ran ads to your website, didn't you? That's me. So just so you guys know, like when I'm training, I'm being super brash and harsh. So you guys know where my head's thinking. I don't say that, but in my head, I'm like, that makes no sense. If you knew it wasn't going to work, why'd you run ads to it? To try to prove my point, like, dude, you need help. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Well, the good news is like you have a easy problem to fix. But yeah, I think going back to your point, like the reason you work with us is you're going to get all those touch points set up at the click of a button. We have templates, scripts, automations, etc. You click, you get it, you make the slight edits with you and your coach, and then you're off to the races. And so like if you were going to go build that out all on your own, you know, that's going to take months and months and months. That would be the benefit of working with us versus not. So that's all I'm trying to get you to see. And the reason we're so successful or been so successful is because we don't leave anything to chance. It's like buy or die, right? And then either you can do it yourself, you can hire team members, you can automate some of it. But that's kind of how I built my whole company, and that's why we've been so successful. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense.
So what kind of what clients do you guys typically work with, and what kind of funnels do you build out for them? Like what kind of clients are your clients targeting that you help them build out funnels to reach?
Do you guys see how he seems so much more interested in what I'm saying than what said? Does this make sense? He's like, yeah. Because that's not what he wants to hear. Like he already has something he's doing. It's not working. So I didn't say anything about it. He just did the list that I tell you guys not to do. Right. My own sales team does this sometimes. Drives me freaking nuts. So I was like, here's what you're doing and it doesn't work. Here's what you need to do. Okay.
Yeah, dude. So we get tons of trainers, tons of marketing agencies like yourself. We get some people in the beauty space as well, real estate, tons of those, lots of gyms. It's really anything you can think of over the years. We've had 40,000 clients, anything you can think of that they sell something high ticket price. And then typically the funnels will run. It's usually to a VSL only because like over the years, you can do webinars and stuff, but it just, most people are just like, just give me the info. So it's usually going to be add to Messenger, add to opt-in page. Behind that's going to be a VSL with a button to book a call. And then you're going to have a thank you page after that. So it's a pretty simplistic funnel, but it's something I've learned over the years too. I've won pretty much every ClickFunnels award you can get. It really has nothing to do with the funnels, which is the irony. Like everyone's like, just one funnel away. It's like, no, it's, you know, it's a whole follow-up system away is what it actually is. Right. So the funnels are actually pretty simplistic. There's nothing like you're not going to come to a firm like, oh, I've never seen a VSL funnel before. But what you will see that you haven't seen before is just the amount of follow-up we do on the back end and stuff is it's extraordinary. And that's why I think we've done so well, because you got to think like when you're competing in a competitive market, the only way to stand out is you do unscalable things. And so unscalable things to me is like more follow-up, more emails, more text, Facebook groups, retargeting ads. And so a lot of times when people get on the phone, you're actually the first person I've heard in, I don't know how long, who's like, oh yeah, this is the first time I've seen Tanner. Most people on my sales team calls are usually like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've seen Tanner stuff forever. It's annoying. Like stop. It's, so that's what we would try to do for you. And then the cool part is a lot of companies you're going after right now, they're not quite as targeted, right? I would say it's not quite as competitive. So if you have a better marketing system and follow-up, you're going to win on that front, and then your cost of acquisition is going to go way down. It's just the good news. What I'm trying to say is, like, based on what you thought you were running your ads to, I'm not surprised at all it's going to convert, which is the good news, because if everything was perfect, then I would be concerned on the call because there wouldn't be anything we could do to help you.
All right. Build need. He needs us, right? The way he's talking, it's like, yeah, we do all this stuff and everyone else says the same thing. So I had to give him a little juice. I got to give him a little something, like give him an analogy he understands. Right. So we do all these things on the back end. That's why we've been successful. Here's an example, right? So here's what you're doing. Here's what we do. You got to like describe it for people. It's just doing the grocery list thing, right? Grocery list means you get an apple, you get an orange, you get a banana. That doesn't sell people, especially this guy where his belief is so low. Like this guy sounds like he'd rather be at the dentist, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I gave it a shot and didn't really expect it to convert because I know how that stuff works. So there was no stock there. But really, if I can just get a higher volume of leads, like if I get like my ideal clients, right, like the doctor's offices and things like that, like if I can get them like on the phone, if I can get them sort of in my system where I follow up with them, I'm confident that I can close like a high percentage of them.
Sure. Yeah, no, and definitely makes sense. And just like from what we've seen over the years is just the more you're willing to follow up and the more processes you have, the better, because a lot of times coaching programs, they'll kind of flip it as, yeah, we're going to set up this funnel and you cross your fingers and you click publish on your ads and it's going to work. And yeah, in a perfect world, that would be amazing, but it's rarely that simple. And so that's why we help our clients so much with backend systems and follow-ups, because we have to make sure you're successful. And it's like, we just set up a funnel and we're like, yeah, just sit back and chill. I just rarely see that work. There's very, very few people who can pull that off. And usually the guys who do, they're guys who have been doing it for like 20, 30 years. It's just, that's just not been my formula for success or a lot of clients. But anyways, I'll let you take it back. I just want to throw that in.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, like, kind of like Tanner said, follows to you, just with competitive markets, the space is growing.
So business owners, if you have a sales team, this is how you train them without them blowing the calls. They're just blowing cash and you're just getting pissed off, because he's going to learn more from me jumping in and doing this than he ever will just me reviewing a call. Okay. Like I promise you, they will learn way faster. You'll save way more money. They'll be way more enthused. They'll still get paid. So it's a little bit of a sacrifice in the short term. But if they're not super experienced, you don't do this, man, you're going to blow crazy cash. I've lost, I don't know how much, but I've lost millions for sure. Millions. Every call I'm not on with them. I mean, you can't do it forever, right? But I'm telling you, it's like you'll save more cash if you can do it in the beginning.
I think it's just, who can stay in front of their face the longest and, just pop up in those. But the third piece, and this is kind of getting more into what we call process, but when I say process, it's not only our process and how we work with clients, it's almost like how to know if this process is the best fit. It's kind of asking the question, why us? And I'm just bringing this up because you said you recently clicked on us, like obviously not super familiar like most people hop on, but with the process, there's really three main things, because if you just look at coaching, companies, everyone kind of says the same thing, promises the world. And I mean, if we're being honest, it can be hard to know like who's actually, doing what they're teaching, who get results, and then who, who's kind of full, for lack of a better term. So the reason we go through this is because we focus on these three things. It helps drown out that noise. And then you can make a very like logical, just like, hey, here's the numbers, here's what's real, and kind of drown out all the emotion or, what they might be claiming. And those three things are experience, specificity, attention. And I think this is honestly why people choose to work with us. But, kind of like Tanner said, when it comes to our experience, we've worked with about 40,000 clients. We're obviously an 8-figure company, and we've been around about 6.5 years. And obviously I'm not saying any of this to impress you or like, ooh, look at us. But if you have 10 people, all lined up, all making big claims, promising the same thing, I would just, bring it back to that, because it makes it very tangible. You can put numbers on it and just say, who's worked with the most clients, who's been around the longest, who makes the most revenue. And not saying you have to work with them, but, gun to your head, you have to make the business work. That just gives you the best chance to be successful. It's just going with who helps most people, and obviously they, that's just more experience taking you to help you. So that's the first piece. The second thing is the specificity, like how specific, how customized is the program to what you want to do. And, the biggest thing with this is just like working with someone that actually knows like your model, your business, because everyone tries to.
Okay, so this part is just like, hey, you should work with us because we're one of the most experienced in the space and blah, 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 blah. Like we do that pretty much on every call, because it's still competitive. The more competitive your space, I find it's a really good point. Now, when you're not bigger, you just use the David and Goliath. You're like, yeah, Tanner's the Goliath, but I'm David, right? I'm fast, I'm nimble, I can help you. Tanner's got a big team, So it doesn't matter what you say, it's just how you frame it. Okay. There's pros and cons to everything in life. But when we're pitching, we're saying all the best stuff, right? And everything that's not what we do is we say it's the worst. Okay.
The world and say like, hey, what you're doing is kind of the same thing, or, maybe we don't focus on that, but, it'll still work. It's all the same stuff. But I mean, that's just not true. Like usually going with someone, even if they're very high level, no business, if they've never done your model or, kind of worked with, a client that wants to do the same thing, I'm not saying it can't work, but, obviously that drastically lowers the chances that it will work. So with us, and, obviously if I told you what you're doing is 100% all we focus on, I'd, be lying. But when it comes to really just any type of online business, helping them with infrastructure, what it takes to be successful, that's our bread and butter. We've worked with 40,000 clients and we've pretty much seen a little bit of everything. So with your model, even though it's not 100% what we focus on, we still have tons of clients we've worked with in the space. We've seen what works and what doesn't, and our portfolio company, kind of like I said, is the same exact model. So we're not having to reinvent the wheel. Is kind of what I'm getting at. It's just taking things we've already seen work, we've seen effective, and then taking out those pieces and showing you how to implement the same thing. So that's the second piece. But the third thing, honestly, this is by far, I think, the most important piece is the attention aspect. Because a lot of programs and a lot of courses, whatever, companies, coaches, what they do is there's a lot more just like coursework. Hey, here's like, models to look at, here's some, sheets to fill out that'll kind of help guide you along, but then it's, good luck figure it out. And that's, like, I'm not saying obviously that can't work, but if it was just an information gap, everyone would be millionaires. Everyone would already be where they want to be because the information's out there. Between YouTube, ChatGPT, like you can pretty much figure out anything. But I think the biggest breakdown is usually implementation, like knowing what to take, how to implement it correctly, what actually makes sense versus what doesn't. And I would say that that's where we're a lot more hands-on in a sense. Where it's not just, hey, here's some courses and modules, but it's, hey, let's get into the weeds with you. Let's kind of take apart the business model, see like what needs to change, what maybe can stay the same. And it's a lot more like hands-on, like I said, kind of getting in the trenches. So those are the three biggest things I just want to bring up because you said you were kind of newer to us. Experience, specificity, attention, with all these people making big claims, promising the world. I think if you just bring it back to those, you can kind of drown out all that. You just say, who has most experience, who's specific to what I want to do or help clients, get to a high level and actually, have worked with clients in the same space. But the biggest thing is who can actually give the attention, like, get in the weeds, go like, hey, here's what we need to do, here's what we need to fix to kind of move the needle. And usually those three things line up. That's a really, that's a green light. Like usually that's a really good indicator you're going to be in a good position to get a good result. If one or more of those three things are missing, and our experience, those are usually when clients didn't have the best experience or maybe they didn't achieve like the level that they really wanted to. So just a quick recap, and then I'll kind of go into like how we work, and if you have any questions or anything like that, you can.
Okay, so it was like first 2 points for us is like things we do differently and how we can help him better than other people, and the last one's why he should choose us. That's just how we do it. In a competitive space, I recommend you do one of those things. Okay, sometimes it could just be 3 features or like 3 systems. It doesn't matter. It's just like have 3 points. Okay.
Kind of shoot them at me. But number one thing, obviously operation, just making sure that when we do push into these cold markets, that you're not just kind of grouping with the crowd. You want to kind of set you apart and make sure that this presents really well. But then obviously hold, the system on the back end too, like making sure operations, fulfillment, everything like that is streamlined, because it's kind of the curse is done for you. It can be really taxing if things aren't set up correctly. It can break the engine really quickly. So that's all in the offer, making sure things are set to scale. Second thing is going to be the operating system, our lead operating system for the paid traffic. Because once these people get to you, it's, once again, that's not the hard part. The hard part is all the follow up. It's just making sure different touch points and, people are safe, keeping them engaged and not letting them kind of slip through. And then once again, the last thing, experience, specificity, and just making sure those things line up, no matter who you, not even just with us, but I'll look at that with any coach, company, anyone out there making big claims. But anything on any of that or anything you're kind of thinking at the moment? No, sounds good. Okay, cool. So I'll briefly walk through once again like how we work with clients, and then you can kind of tell me what you think on that. But the first thing, like I said, is one-to-one. You'll get paired up with a one-to-one strategist or one-to-one coach, whatever you want to call them. You'll have unlimited messaging via Facebook Messenger, and then private Zoom calls if needed. So if it's something quick, you can do a quick message and do it that way. But anything more visual, like need them to look at the funnel, look at the back end, whatever you're kind of getting stuff on, then you can hop on Zoom. They can pull it up, kind of get in the weeds with you, see what's wrong, and point you on the right track. So that's your first layer of support. On top of that, you'll also have 2 extra layers of support, which are what we call daily live expert calls and office hours. So the expert calls, those are on specific topics in business, like sales, marketing, funnels, automations, messaging, copywriting, mindset, social media, fulfillment, pretty much anything you could think about you might need extra help with in the business. And those are all ran by our executive staff. So same exact people running our business, our COO, our CFO, VP of sales, all the same people doing that. Those are the ones kind of guiding through, walking through with you too. And then same thing with the office hours. The only difference is office hours are just kind of more free flow. You can just kind of, hop on, ask whatever you want. Some people might just fit in, look up some more information, kind of see what other people are asking. But once again, not to beat a dead horse, it's the support. Like that's the only reason that our clients move so fast, and why it works so well is that there's tons of different resources we can reach out, get help, actual high level help, kind of getting into the weeds with their business specifically and getting everything, kind of make sure everything on the path, going in the right direction. So those are 3 layers of support. Any questions or anything on those?
No, not right now. You can continue.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's that. And then last 2 things, and then any questions or anything you have after that can kind of come at me. But last thing is the portal. So you'll have access, obviously, videos, modules, kind of breaking down everything that we do and teach. They're strictly detailed. It kind of walks through all different strategies. So it's not all going to apply to you, but it's all it's all there if you want to kind of look through it. Anything else that you want to kind of go into on your own time, and then also the group. So the group is our clients, executives, C-suite, and then obviously all the clients who work with are in there. The biggest thing people say they get from the group is just perspective, because you're going to see people, just getting started, scaling up, but you're also going to see people that are already doing the, the 100Ks, the 500Ks, the million and one pluses, and then everyone in between as well. And you'll even see, agencies in your space. So you can also bounce ideas off them, kind of pick their brain, see what's working, what's not working. On top of, obviously the team support, they're in there or answering questions, helping as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Anything on those?
Yeah. So is this system more of a, more of like a resource for strategies and learning and like understanding like your whole Sorry, I'm like totally losing my train of thought right now. I get a little distracted. All right, so is this platform just more about like having the resources to understand like how to build out these systems and funnels, or do you guys actually do the execution as well in terms of building things out, or is the execution going to be on my end?
Yeah, good question. So a lot of it, whenever I say like you're gonna have pretty much everything as far as like we have a done free asset library, so templates for funnels, landing pages, I mean, templates for lead magnets. So in that sense, it's already built out. You're not having to build it out from scratch, but it would be you actually like, hey, here's how to implement this. You kind of putting it in your business. So if you're asking if it's like, if we're just gonna do it all for you, it's still some on your part, like, you know, maybe clicking, downloading, copying, pasting, but all the stuff is already built out. Is that gonna answer that?
Yeah, a little bit.
So like you have all the templates. So like think of it this way: we have a 14-day email sequence. You click a button, you get it.
Yeah.
We have funnel. You click a button, you get it. All you have to do is edit the headline, put in your pictures, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Again, I jump in because like I feel like someone's not being clear. It's like you guys got to also be confident. You can't just be like, yeah, da 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 da. It's like, yes, this is what you get. This is how it works. Like you got to sound like you know what you're talking about, right? If you're not confident, guess what they're gonna feel? Same thing. Okay. The reason people feel confident when I speak to them is I give off that I know what I'm talking about. So they feel that, right? So even if you don't know what you're talking about, act like you know what you're talking about. Yeah, dude, this is the best security system in the world. It's got all the whistles. You can always refund people. You guys get that, right? If you overpromise or oversell, you can always refund. It's like, it's always better to push to make a decision and get them to move forward. And then if you make a mistake, you can go back, but you can't do it the other way around. Okay.
That's it. If you do have issues though, your coach will work with you and they can get on and help you, and where you can get with our test team, right? So if you're like, hey, I literally can't figure this out, stop firing, right, whatever. But we set it up from scratch and I have to click the button. It's already downloaded and ready to go, because yeah, if you had to make it all from scratch, it's a nightmare, but you're not making it from scratch. The only thing you have to duplicate out is like your pictures and stuff, because obviously we have a million clients. And so we can't, build it out with your stuff day one, but it's very easy to do. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, it does. And then all of the follow-up is on me, right? Like you guys don't have like automated teams that help with follow-up. Is it like once I turn this thing on, like it's going to be on me to make sure that I'm staying on top of it?
We could. It just costs more, but yeah, we have setters and closers. People, you can hire setters and closers that we actually train and manage for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we got anything you want. It just depends on what price tag you're willing to pay. But typically, like most people, when they come in at your level, they come in the program, they get the systems, they get the follow-up, they get the dedicated one-to-one code, and then they're kind of off to the races, and they go from there. If you're like, hey, I want you guys to do more stuff, we can. It just makes the price go up and up and up and up, because the more done for you we have to do, obviously, the more expensive it has to be.
Yeah, got it.
One thing though, I would say like probably cleaning up systems first though, because I mean, there's, lots of revenue that we could probably generate just from the follow-up and putting like a safety net to get those people. And you never just want to put people or ask more on like, you don't want to put people on process profit is what I'm getting at. But I think that probably best case scenario is fixing everything, making sure foundations are solid, and then obviously setters, closers, anything we need to automate down the road that we can kind of look at that. But that's probably like maybe 2-3 steps down the road.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Anything else?
No, I don't have any other questions right now. I think there were some materials that you sent as an attachment to one of the emails. I could look through that. Is there anything else materials wise that you guys can send over to help me kind of do a little more digging on my end?
Okay. So he's not ready to buy, by the way. He's not ready to buy. So I'm not going to drop the price because he's not ready to buy, like at all. Like the fact that he's saying that after all that, I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends what digging means to you. The stuff we sent over, getting over to the program.
So I'm gonna start digging, right? I got to figure out like what else, what's the problem? Okay. So that's why I jump in, because I'm starting to get annoyed, right? I'm like, what is the problem? So watch.
You can go on Trustpilot. We have our review site, and we have 1 million people, but I mean, I think the brass tacks is going to come down to, do you want that system built out and help with it or not? I mean, because
right? Isn't that the truth? Do you want it built out or do you not want it built out? That's it. There's nothing for him to look at, or like, you know what I mean? It's like, do you want the system or do you not? That's it.
I mean, we'll send you whatever you want, but that's what it's going to come down to, right? Yeah. That's the big benefit you get with us. Obviously, we can help with your coaching and hiring and training, like anything where you feel you're deficient. But the thing I kind of pick up from you is that, you kind of know what to do with that, but you kind of need the system and you want someone to help build it out. And that's what we do. Yeah. So I think that's the brass tacks is what's going to determine if you want to work with us or not. If that's valuable to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like when I'm kind of ready to put the pedal to the metal. Like I said earlier, like I am kind of like growing at a slower rate right now with some of the outreach.
Okay, remember, guys, growing slower means you're not doing what you need to do to grow. There's no such thing as growing slower. This is not a muscle. This is not, you're not pregnant. You're not growing in height. Like that means he doesn't know what he's doing, right? So I'm going to address that because he's like, yeah, I'm kind of growing slower right now. So I got to figure out, like, do you not care? Like, what does that mean? Okay.
Processes that I'm doing. I haven't gotten to a point where I've hired anybody to really help take over work, like when I start growing quicker. So that's something that I definitely need to put a little time into to make sure I have like all my processes dialed in so I can, hire and train effectively. So yeah, I mean, where I'm at right now, like, you know, using LinkedIn and some of the organic stuff and like my network and referrals to grow, like it's fine, you know, whatever, like I'm growing, but at some point, like I do want to invest in something that will make it a little more systematic.
Yeah. So what, just curious on my end, because ultimately I want to help, is what you keep saying, like you want to wait and stuff, like why do you not want help with hiring and training and systems and like to speed that up? Or like when you say you want to go slower, what's the thought process behind that? Just so I understand.
No, I think it's just a matter of like, do I want to, like, is it something that I want? Like what value, I guess I don't know what your price is. So like, first of all, like what's the value that I'm gonna get out of this versus like if I.
Okay, so he's not ready for a price. So watch what I do. I'm not going to give him a price. He's not ready. If I give him the price, it does nothing. He's not going to buy today.
I just kind of continued on the pace that I'm at and did it myself. Because I know I can, and I know I'll get there. Like if I'm going to invest in something and I know it's going to help me get there quicker, then
Sure.
you know, that's a different conversation.
What's the reason you haven't done it that, if you don't mind me asking, like what's the hold up on you doing it?
I have time to do it myself still. I don't need to hire somebody. Like
Okay, so listen to this. I don't have the time to do it. So you don't have any time to do anything else, but you don't want to hire anyone to help you, to tell you what, like, he's going to start contradicting himself. Watch.
at some point, like I'll need to, because you just have to take that plunge eventually. But
No, like why haven't you built it out? So you're saying you have time, but you haven't done it. So I don't get why you haven't done it.
Oh, to build out the funnels for lead acquisition?
Yeah. Follow-up system processes, hiring and training, like if you have time, like why aren't you doing it is what I'm asking.
Oh, because my time is going into managing like my current clients and sales as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. So I guess like I'm curious, like let's say hypothetically you keep going on your own and you're already maxed out because you're doing sales all the time and fulfillment. Like, or do you need help with like the next step of like, hey, who do you hire next and like how to manage them? And then, because that's where I'm getting confused, is like, it sounds like you're already pretty busy and you don't have time to do these other things. So how are you going to do these other things if you're already pretty busy?
Facts. Tell me.
I think it's just a matter of like, what is the, like, how strong is the desire to really like.
Right. So the issue is he doesn't give a shit. You guys see that? You got two things to sell to someone: desire, and he's got to have money. He just doesn't care. But I had to get that out because I'm like, he's not making logical sense. So that's why I jump in and I'm like, what's the deal? What's the problem? Basically what he's saying is like, I just don't care that much. He's like, I'm fine making 11 grand a month. So if that's how someone feels, really hard to close. So that's why, like, watch what I do. I do a delayed close. So this is called delayed close. Watch.
Kick it up to that next level. Right. Because like I said, like I've been growing. But like,
So would you say you're content right now? Or you're just like, it's not that big of a deal, it's whatever.
Yeah, maybe a combination of both. Like I'm not like, I don't like have a, it's not like a super strong urge to like, oh my God, I have to like crank it up to this amount ASAP. So it's a little bit of that.
Well, let's do this. Check out the resources we sent over. Let me talk to them and like, we'll come up with maybe a custom plan for you, because I always tell my team two things, like they have to have money and desire. And right now your desire doesn't seem that high. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have it, but if it's like a 5 out of 10, that's probably not high enough. So look at our stuff. Let's schedule like how many days would you need to look at that? Would like 1 day be enough, 2 days be enough, 3 days be enough?
Well, do you have any pricing info that you can provide? That would help me.
We do. I mean, we do. It just literally ranges from $7 to $200,000. That's why, like, I think based on what you're saying, if you can come up with a custom plan over the next few days for you, you check out our resources, we get back on a 15-minute call and we can present it to you. But I mean, we literally have stuff that's $7 all the way to 200 G. So I think like, I'd like you to look at our stuff and then kind of let us know like what you're liking. And then we can talk about a custom plan and present it to you in a couple of days. It's just like, based on what I'm hearing on this call, I don't think you're like, I'm not really sure what to give you at, because I want you to look at our stuff and kind of decide like, is this the direction you want to go? If you do, then I think I can come up with like maybe a custom plan and pricing, but I want to see what you think once you see it.
Yeah. I mean, where I'm at right now, it's like more of like curiosity. I want to learn more. Like, is it something that I really need right now? No. And like, I am like, admittedly, like I'm hesitant to like invest into something unless I'm like 100% sure that it's something that I need and something that will like provide the results that I want. So,
well, it's relative. Like, let me just give you perspective. Do you need it to survive and like make 10K a month? No. Do you need it to make 50K? I would say yes. Do you need it to make 100K? I would say yes. But you also have to have the desire to get there. So like, if right now, just correct me if I'm wrong, just based on what I'm listening, you seem pretty like good with where you're at. You're like, hey, I'm making 10 to 20 months. I'm chilling. Like I'm getting clients. I'm not in a big rush. So I would say like need is relative to what you want to do. It's like, you're cool with where you're at. I would agree. You do not need it. If you're genuinely trying to grow, you are going to need it. So there's not any way around investing. It's just who you invest with. It's like getting a wife, bro. Like I know it sounds kind of funny, but I always do dating analogies, but if you're going to get a wife, you're going to have girlfriends. Like, and so there's no way to skip the girlfriend part unless you want like an arranged marriage. I mean, I guess you do that, but you know what I'm going with it. So what I would do and what I recommend is like, we wrap up, let's set a 15-minute call. Like I don't know how many days you need, but that's why I'm asking, like we can schedule a 15-minute call after you go through the resources. I can talk to someone and we'll come up with a plan and we can present it to you. But you got to decide if you want, like a need is just, do you want to scale your business? If you do, you do need it. And you're going to probably need help because.
Okay. So anyways, blah, blah, blah. That's how the call left. So that call, like the thing that I didn't like from my sales guy is like, he's not building any need. So what would a sales guy say? He'd post them like, yeah, the guy doesn't really want to do it. He's not a good lead. It's like, he's a good lead. You just got to work a little bit. Like not every lead is going to be a freaking laydown. So what I did is I was like, let's delay till Friday. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't really know what to offer you because I don't want to give him the price right now because he's not ready for it. We'll send him resources. I'll send him like a personal video. We'll wait till Friday. We'll get back on and be like, so do you want to do this? And he's like, I still don't want to do it. It's like, all right, like I'll bounce. But if he does, then I can price drop and I'm in a better position. Because right now he just doesn't care. He's just kind of like taking calls to take calls. Okay. Questions?
Where did you like drive your confidence from or derive it from before you had all that experience? Like right when you got into sales, for example, or did you just start your business and that's how you got into high ticket closing?
I mean, I just sucked and then I just did it enough till I was good. And then once I was good, you know, it's kind of came from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I did door-to-door sales and it took me about 2 months to get used to it. But you know what's nice about door-to-door sales? That's why I think a lot of you guys would benefit from door-to-door sales. Door-to-door sales, I would get 100 people a day I could talk to. So you get the feedback loop is very fast. The only downside with high ticket sales is like it takes you a month to talk to 100 people. And also like typically the owners are paying for the call. So like you can't be horrible for forever because they're not going to deal with you, right? So I would just say it comes from belief in what you're selling. And then it also comes from just reps. I mean, that's really it. I mean, it's reps and then believing in what you're selling. So that's why a lot of times if you can get in with the company on ground floor and you can work for free, or you can do door-to-door sales for 60 days or whatever, that's why people like, they don't get it. You're not doing door-to-door sales or working for free for the money. You're doing it for the skill because the skills pay the bills, man. Like that end of the day, it's like the more skills I have, the more money I make. That's how it works. If I was you and I was a sales rep and I was starting all over, I would just get as many reps as I could. So, yeah, you come to calls, try to have as much context, ask the questions you need the answers to, and then you got to build belief. Like they have to have belief in money. So some people come to the call, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want to do this, but they're broke. So then you have to like figure out a money situation. Some people come to the call, they have a lot of money, but they don't really want to do it. You just have to meet people where they're at and you have to be listening for what they're saying and you have to build it. So this guy on this last call, he just didn't really care and wouldn't have closed him for sure. Like there's no way because I mean, he still didn't close. He just didn't build enough belief. So that's like stuff you work on with your sales reps and you just teach them like different situations. That's also why if you look at applications before a call, you have more context. There's a lot of stuff you can do. So anyways, I'm going to go hop on more sales calls and record them for you guys. And yeah, I'll see you on Friday.